And he said unto me, Behold the new land with thine eyes, but thou shalt not cross over this river Jordan.
So who is the politician who can lead Parliament out of Brexit bondage? The Labour plan to kick Boris Johnson out of Downing Street requires almost every Remainer in Parliament to back it to have a chance. Can someone other than Jeremy Corbyn command that temporary majority? And if so, how?
Agree what you're doing and do it under the preferred, least divisive, most commanding leader. I'd follow Harriet. I'd follow Yvette. I think they'd probably follow me.
And this... It seems from Hong Kong to Kashmir, we're seeing a yearning for liberal democracy. But can that prevail in the age of the strongman leader? Our Friday Mavens are here to unpack our domestic political crisis and the wider crisis of confidence across the globe. Good evening. This week, the Labour Party seized the political initiative by suggesting that Jeremy Corbyn should head an interim government to prevent a no-deal Brexit, then take the country into a general election. But the responses exposed some big rifts in the opposition to a no-deal Brexit. The Liberal Democrats responded, initially at least, with a flat no. And it's clear that the Labour plan needs its own MPs to vote solidly to bring down the government and to find some Tory rebels to join them. And that's not looking likely. Today, one leading Tory Remain rebel, Dominic Grieve, categorically ruled out facilitating a Corbyn government. And for those wondering if another MP, Ken Clarke or Harriet Harman perhaps, could be parachuted into Downing Street for a short time to delay Article 50, today the Labour leader attempted to squash that idea, insisting that as leader of the opposition, so is the Remainer opposition destined to implode if it can't bring together a critical mass of MPs behind it. Tom Newton-Dunn is the political editor of The Sun, and Sonia Soda from The Observer also joins us now. Sonia, do you think, given everything we've already heard and you've picked up from your contacts, there is a viable pathway still for Jeremy Corbyn to stop this?
I think there could be.
Brexit,
I don't think it's looking extremely likely at the moment, and indeed people are exploring other possibilities for ways that Parliament could block a no-deal Brexit. But I think there is still a chance. I think we've seen Jo Swinson row back slightly in recent days what she said when Jeremy Corbyn first made his offer. But I think, an MP like a leader of the Liberal Democrats like Jo Swinson needs to look at this and ask, how committed are the Liberal Democrats to stopping a no-deal Brexit? Because in terms of parliamentary procedure, one of the only fail-safe ways to do that is through a vote of no confidence and forming some sort of short-term emergency government, I think. And I think, the fact that she said, first of all, no, we're not even going to sort of talk about this with Jeremy Corbyn, does raise questions. How serious are the Lib Dems about this?
Although Jo Swinson also today seemed to put some blame on Change UK, didn't she, on Twitter, sort of suggesting, well, look, if we can't get them on board. I mean, is this still a blame game, in crude terms, Tom, of each trying to sort of displace the blame for a no-deal?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I think it is. Certainly a lot of Labour people think Jeremy Corbyn is not really that serious about this. He would be rather keen for Brexit to actually go ahead. It is still standing Labour Party manifesto policy for it still to happen. And there's a lot of jockeying for position, trying to get the moral high ground. Interestingly, I think actually Jo Swinson is going to win this sort of great big, tussle with Jeremy Corbyn, because the fact of the matter, she's got the numbers on her side. So what happens? This goes to a confidence vote. Boris Johnson may well lose that. Then have 14 days to pick someone who might be able to replace him. So still a massive might, because these are still ferrets in the sack. First thing that happens, Corbyn says, well, it should be me. He will undoubtedly lose that vote. So he will then be under enormous pressure, then, knowing it can't be him, to appoint someone else, Ken Clarke, Harriet Harman, whoever it might be.
How many Labour MPs are there, do you think, who couldn't bring themselves to support Jeremy Corbyn in this kind of role as the caretaker Prime Minister leading the country into an election?
Well, I think there will be quite a few who in their hearts will feel sort of very reluctant to do so. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult if you've got Jeremy Corbyn putting himself forward for if a Labour MP doesn't support him leading a short-term emergency government on the terms that he set out in his letter. I mean, I think voters have got the right to ask, what on earth are they doing in the Labour Party?
I don't think he won't need any lack of Labour MPs to not do with him. They're interesting. There are 15 different independent MPs in Parliament at the moment, and they're all added up on the opposition side.
Fragmentation of the Parliament.
Well, most of them used to be Labour MPs, Change UK sorts or angry pro-Brexiteers, and none of them almost certainly will vote for Jeremy Corbyn for very good reason.
So far, we've just given attention to this. The mechanics, I suppose, of a no confidence vote, and then can Jeremy Corbyn get the votes or another? But is there another path? Is there the sort of procedural Grieve, Bercow, or let's find a way to do this without a no confidence vote?
Yeah, there is. There's the legislative path, which is simply commandeering the order paper. The government tables legislation and passes it. There is a way, and it's happened before, earlier this year, to table your own bill if you've got enough MPs by it, and a complicit Speaker of the House of Commons, and John Bercow certainly is one. It's fraught with risk, though, because then if you're Parliament against the government, trying to take a bill through both houses on a very limited time frame, we've got, 4 or 5 weeks of sitting Commons time with a conference recess in the way they might legislate to do away with that. But it is fraught with immense risk. So, and I'm talking to someone tonight, there appears to be this sort of veritable tooling up of Erskine May. So both sides are frantically flicking through this old-fashioned, this manual written 100, 200 years ago on how parliamentary business should be done, to try and find arcane little tricks to out-counter each other. It's going to be a truly, almost imperceptibly hard game to follow for the likes of us, but a fascinating one all the same.
The sudden death, though, I mean, the time is so limited.
That's the problem.
It is. And I do think that if there are other routes that are being explored, but as Tom says, they are fraught with risk. To me, the clearest route does seem to be a vote of no confidence, an emergency short-term government. And I do think that, we heard Ming Campbell saying, well, Jeremy Corbyn just can't unite people from different parties around this. I think, though, if you're an MP who says that you will do what it takes to stop no deal, you've got to ask, why not support Jeremy Corbyn? I mean, you're not voting in a 5-year Jeremy Corbyn government. He's made very clear the only purpose of his short-term government would be to avoid a no-deal Brexit and to trigger a general election.
The answer to that question for some MPs appears to be they can't bear the thought of him going into that general election as Prime Minister. Is that, even if it's just a 3-month term, is that a significant factor in this, do you think, Tom?
I think in part, certainly the Lib Dems say you can't trust Jeremy Corbyn. He's a terrible Brexiteer anyway, and he'll just betray everybody. But the reality is it's Tories. You really do need Tories to get this thing to work. So, say you have 10 to 15 people counted in the opposition parliament at the moment, voting potentially with Boris Johnson and the government because they're very pro-Brexit. Some Labour MPs who might even do that. You need 15, 20 Tory MPs to vote against him.
And last word,
what?
Are those numbers there?
That you might have 2 Tory MPs voting for a
now.
Jeremy Corbyn Prime Minister, no chance of 20.
Tom and Sonia, thank you both very much.